Hey guys, before I start this video, I just want to say that you are enough and that God has given you a gift to bring value to this world and to help people. So don't worry if someone on the other side of the world charge less than you or more. That doesn't matter here. The most important thing is you are the present, you are the machine, you are the processor of this, and you just need to focus on yourself. Don't worry about all the noise around it. So this is going to be focused on you, and you will play with your own values. So with that said, let's get started. So now in my computer, I'm going to show you how you can calculate your expenses, just so you know how much money it costs to make a project or one of a similar project. And this applies not only to Archviz, it can apply to many things. And let's just jump into the expenses first, which is this one here. Don't worry, you can download this file for free on Gumroad. So I'm cool with that. If you want to leave a donation, it's always appreciated. But anyway, it's going to be for free. And the reason I put on Gumroad is because I don't need to worry about broken links if I put it on my drive, and I also save some space on my drive. So that's the main reason I put it on Gumroad. So on my expenses and this tab or sheet, you will see the fixed costs and variable costs for this project, and also the total cost, which is basically adding this and this together. So what are your fixed costs? Your fixed costs are going to be everything that you know that is fixed. So for example, how much you pay for your rent yearly, how much you pay for salaries, how much are your utility bills, or at least an estimate, the hardware, how much you're planning to spend on that year, software, education, and many other costs that you think, hey, this, I know roughly how much I'm going to spend this year, so I can just put it in there, and that's going to give me my hourly costs for that are fixed, so they are constant. So for example, for salaries, you can, I mean, it depends what what hourly costs you want to do, and usually I do 25 or 30 or even 50. It depends on the project, depends on the client, and just that's something you need to bear in mind about this. So I'm going to use 25 just for, well, let's just do 20 just for ease of visualizing. So for the office space or the rent, and I said rent because, I mean, if you work from home like I do sometimes, then there is cost associated with that. There is a space like WeWork that is nearby home that I can rent, and I kind of follow what the cost for this is about, and I think they rent for 160. It's just a space where you can go, and there's a bunch of other people working there, and you can have your own sort of like cabin if you need to do some presentations or video calls. So I'm just going to follow on that, but this depends on whether you rent a space or you're paying for a mortgage. It depends on that. And I think it's £160, which is really good, for per month. And I'm going to multiply that for 12 by 12. So I'm going to set this 1920. And it's going to give me an hourly cost. So how do I calculate these hourly costs? I did was just multiply 365 per 24, and that will give me 8,760 hours that are going to divide this value by that number just to give me my hourly costs. On utility bills and electricity, like electricity, water, telephone, insurance, you might have an estimate for that per year. I'm just going to click here, 3,000. Let's say I do, like £3,000 I spend on my utility bills. I think it's way off, so probably on what I really spend, probably is more in the range of 2,000 with the electricity and all the stuff and the things that I can declare on my taxes. So on hardware, so there might be years that you don't need you don't need to spend money on hardware. It might be also like, like a camera, a lens, a new graphics card, a new hard drive. I mean, everything related with hardware and equipment. Maybe if we change this to equipment as well, we can just maybe a value of £3,000 is not that far off. And the software is all the subscription, all the software you pay in that year. And so I know that I pay SketchUp. I think, I paid for DaVinci Resolve last year, so that's something I will include. I pay for Reason or Ryzen UV as well. So let's say I spend $2,500 on software and subscription. If you need to pay for Revit, AutoCAD, 3ds Max, Corona Render, or V-Ray, these values are going to go up. So it depends on the software you use. For 3D modeling, I use Blender, so I still pay like 10 or 20 quid a month just as a donation to Blender. And and this also, it can include some resources you get from the Unreal Marketplace, etc. But you get an idea of how this work. So education, on books, courses, resources, I might spend 600 just in between books and courses that I think it will improve me, with new things that I learned. So on my fixed costs, I get a value of £21.14 per hour. That's going to be my cost for this project, or for all the projects I used during this year. And now I'm going to go to variable and commuting or transportation. So if you spend like petrol or gas, it depends on the country you are, or it's just train tickets or even flight tickets, you put it in here, just related with this project, with this client. So this is like individual costings for just one project. So commuting, let's say you spend £200. Maybe you don't even need commuting, so let's just, for the sake of this exercise. So purchase of 3D models. Sometimes you want to, it's not sometimes, most of the time, you don't need to be modeling everything from scratch. There is a library, there are amazing people, amazing modelers who do make amazing 3D models that you can purchase from them and will save you time. So for this, let's say a project needs £400 worth of models. Just let's imagine is a house like the one on the last tutorial. So I mean, for that house, probably 200 or 300 is more realistic. But just as an imaginary project. So food, drinks, and meetings, you might go to the client and have a meeting with them, have a lunch, have some like a coffee, discuss things out. So you can put that in here as well. Let's say, just for the sake of it, £150 for 3 meetings. Outsourcing, you might want to outsource some of your work, and you might know some people that do things better than you. They are faster, they know the system better than you, so it's always worth to outsource. So let's say for this project alone, let's say 1,000. So now I've got my fixed cost, I got my variable cost. Now I can go into my total cost for this project, and I'm going to set, let's say, 40 hours. And this will calculate, it's just this value here per hour by my 40 hours here. That's gonna give me my fixed cost, and this is going to add the variable to this value here. And you may notice that there is another column with this final variable cost. And this is when you finish your project, you can set this right. So this is just an approximate. Imagine you spend less money on commuting, or you didn't spend any money at all on that, or you just have a meeting of like a quick meeting and you spend £20 on that. So you can add that in, and that is going to calculate what your final profit would be. So now if I go to service and profit, so I got these services here. That is just the things I do. And I've got 3D modeling plus still renders. I've got cinematic video up to 60 seconds. This is 4K. Cinematic video 4K up to 120 seconds. A walkthrough with interaction, a VR with interaction, technical drawings, and this is a discount. And this is going to be my project here, my profit here. So you know your costs. So for this project, it's going to cost you 2,400, almost 2.5 grand. So you can say to the client, look, this is going to cost 2.5 grand. Now you need to add your markup. Your salary is a cost. Never consider your salary as a profit. It's not. You're a different entity. You need to look from a business perspective. So you need to put yourself out, and this is the salary you are going to receive, to pay for your time. Okay, so I add here like a markup of 20% on that cost. And this is not all euros, this is just cost. Or it's not cost, I would say pricing. So I added a 20% markup to this. So it's going to be this times 20%. Well, not 20%, it's 1 minus 20%. So my total cost here divided by this markup. So that's going to give me my markup of £3,120. So I'm going to, this is just to show you the services. I added a discount just so we can add it into the invoice. So let's go into the invoice. And in here, you can just drag this, and I'm going to add this. This is just the basic service. And this is just, well, with the tax. So this is a subtotal. So if a client asks you to do just the modeling from scratch, like putting everything together and do still renders, then based on your expenses and your markup or margin, you will have it's going to cost 3,120 plus the tax. So that is the price that you're going to charge your client. If the client wants to do, he wants to do a cinematic video, and then they want to add a VR walkthrough, then it's going to go all the way up to 6,144. You can even give a discount just to keep it on the $6,000. And you were thinking, hey, but why are you adding this stuff as an addition? Why this is not everything in here? Well, to be honest, this is specialized work. So on the cinematics, you need to do post-production. You need to set the cameras. You need to do the animation and the movement. So that is specialized. That is something you should, tell to the client, look, you can have this just the still renders, just the pictures that you can share with your client, or you can have a cinematic video, or you can have a VR walkthrough with interaction. It depends on what the client needs. And so I don't think it's really, this is not a bad price for that, for what they are getting. And it depends, of course, on the project. So something you can do here, just to cover, changes that might happen, that, or maybe you need to do some revisions. So just add another 10 hours there. So it goes all the way. Let's say you can do for $6,000, and that covers yourself. So in here, now let's think about how projects change, and this is all an estimate. So you might even, like I say, you might even not need any costs to pay anything for commuting. You're gonna work from home. Let's put 0 on that. On the 3D models, you spend more than you thought. You spend $450, or let's do 400. You just had a coffee with the client. You didn't outsource for this project, or the thing you outsourced was £300. And instead of spending 50 hours, you spend 35. So look at how that changed. And look at this value here. So before the project was complete, you get a profit of $2,500 just for that. After it was completed, you have a profit of 3,600 and 3,700 in profit. So is this always that linear? Of course not. It depends on what type of project it is. What is the client like? So at least you get a guide how you can travel yourself through costings, and you can understand, hey, I might need to change, add values here, or take them out because I don't need them. I lean down things. You might even have, if you spend, let's say, $10,000 on software, so that's gonna go to an extra £1 per per hour. And if you got, I mean, don't know, 3 people, and everybody, I mean, not 3 people. If you are just a team of 3, you might see, oh, the hourly cost goes up. So you do 70, and then now we're talking about a project of 10,000, almost 10 grand. But just see that maybe with 3 people, you don't need to spend 50 hours on that project. So this is all variables, and I want you to take this just as a guide, but at least you know where you are. And I say this because, and you may say like, oh, but I don't have those costs. Like I don't know, maybe you don't have this. You go open source, so you just spend, I don't know, £200 a year on software. So again, that's how it's calculated. So just always bear in mind that you got your fixed cost, you got your variable cost, and how a project starts doesn't mean that it's gonna be finished with the same cost. You may even go above and then say you spend 70 hours on that project because the client needed some, let's say you had issues with your model, you had to put extra hours to it, the client wanted to do a change, so at the end you spend 90 hours on that project. But at least if you got this as a separate, as like a upselling service, this is just an extra service that you can say to the client, look, this brings this value to you, but if you're happy with those renders, then with those still renders, then yeah, we can do for that pricing. Yeah, I think with this cover, I think it's quite straightforward. If you go open Excel, don't need to worry about functions, everything. I just set everything here to add things out. So you can always just mess around with the values. You can change the price in here. Don't change these because these are functions and calculations, sorry. So just play around with the areas I told you to, and change those values and see how it works for you. And now I'm going to jump into how you can negotiate. So how you can negotiate with a client. And my best advice to you is know when to walk out. And that is because for some clients, I mean, the value is not there for them, and they are not wrong. We are just human beings, and we give value to different things. For example, their client might not give value to a sofa that costs 20 grand, a Minotti sofa, a Roche Babois. They will say, oh, maybe this is crazy. I'm not gonna spend that kind of money on a sofa. And there are other clients that, yeah, if it's worth it, it brings value to my life. It's comfortable. It's what I need. So not all the clients are gonna value the service you provide. That's fine. That's how relationship works. So it's okay. The way you can negotiate with them is, okay, you can give a bigger discount, but don't compromise your prices too much. Or say to the client, look, if we reduce the size on this, it's going to affect the quality, the visuals. And that is not something I'm willing to take. So you just need to tell them, look, this is, if for example, VR is not that essential to you, well, we can take that off. And yeah, I can just provide a video. So just work around with your service, but don't go like in a race to the bottom to get the lowest price possible, because most of the time there are clients that, yeah, they took you down, they want all the discount on the world, and then during the project they are the ones that put most pressure on you, or they are always chasing you. So that's something you need to get in mind. It's better to have 2-3 clients that give you constant work that allows you to to work through the year. They pay well, and it's a good relationship that you got with them, instead of having like 20-30 that you can't manage, or are putting pressure on you, and you are just chasing your tail. So that's the best advice that I can give you. And you're gonna say, okay, but how can I get more clients? And the best way to get clients is just search locally. Just look around and see what firms are around your area. Go there, go like in person. Just show your face. The only fact that you can show your face, your persona, that is a big point. And book a meeting, schedule a quick talk, just to show what you do, what service you can offer, and how it can improve their projects. So this on clients, it's more like about starting from scratch, building a relationship. So you have to look for it. You need to build a relationship. You need to make friends. It's not just sending 100 emails saying, oh, are you needing 3D services, just like a robot or something like that. No, don't do that. Just look for people that inspire you, that you want to work with them, that you think, hey, I want to do this type of work, this type of project. It will look so cool. So I want to work with you. Don't just go like desperately just sending message on Instagram or LinkedIn or email. Don't rely just on technology for human relationships. Just go there, just show up, be on your best, look your best for those meetings, and don't look like you are a salesperson, but look like you are a professional. And also, if you tell to me, okay, I live in the middle of nowhere, I live with 3 cows and one of them is my sister. Okay, so you got internet, you got hardware to run Unreal and to work on these projects. So you can search online, you can get in contact with them, or still follow these architects, these designers, these manufacturers that you want to work with. Follow them, establish conversations, like, or through leave comments or like their posts, and ask them if they can meet someday. I mean, you can get a train to the city, to the biggest city, and go there. Just maybe stay for a night. Just put that into the customs, but just try to be as present as possible, because that is the most important thing. You may be the guy that makes the best renders and cinematics in the world, but if you're not enjoyable to work with, then I think I would prefer to work with someone who is really likable and who is really positive. And even if the skill is not there yet, but it's always better to work with someone you like. That is us as human. That's how we are, and that's how we build relationships. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Remember, you can download this file from my Gumroad page. And for the next videos, I'll do more like the 3D side and mix a little bit with Blender and SketchUp and explore some plugins like Datasmith, see if it's worth it. So that is the project for the next video, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.